I see everybody here. Okay, we're gonna get started. Phil, you ready, Phil? Okay. The rescheduled monthly meeting of July 30th, 2020 is called to order at 7:30 p.m. via Zoom. Can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Banta?
Here.
Dr. Cohen?
Here.
Mrs. Franco?
She's up there. I don't see her picture yet.
Mr. Idkin?
Here.
Ms. Quackenbush?
Here.
Mrs. Franco?
Elise.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Here.
Mr. Santana?
Here.
Mr. Spindell?
Present.
Mrs. Franco? I see her on there, but I can't hear her.
She might be having problems with her audio.
Okay, Mr. Barbarulo?
Ron just froze again.
Are we ready? Can everybody join me in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
Okay,
Elise said she's trying, something's going on, so I just texted her.
okay. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of the public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Fairlawn Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof distributed to the persons on the approved list, posted in the Board of Education Administrative Office, and sent to the Bergen Record and the Star Ledger. The announcement posting for the rescheduled monthly meeting, along with the date, place, and time thereof, was distributed on July 23rd, 2020. The items to be discussed during closed work session, if needed, we are going to have closed session, of the July 30th, 2020 rescheduled monthly meeting may include personnel matters, student matters, legal matters, negotiations and/or grievances, and tactics and techniques utilized in protecting public safety and property. The results of these discussions will be made public as soon as possible. We already did the flag salute, so I'm going to turn the meeting over to Mr. Norcia, our Superintendent of Schools.
Thank you. After much, going back and forth on our reopening plan, there's two things I want to update you on. Last Friday, Governor Murphy gave an update that every student has the ability to opt out of school if they choose to. And what he wanted to do was give families the flexibility to work on, flexibility for their schedules, what works for their families, really, whether or not they're comfortable sending them to school or if they want to stay home. So at this point, with that information, they released some guidelines to us. We are working on an opt-out form that will have to be sent to our office. The opt-out form will have parameters in it when you could transition back into school, when you have to let us know. It'll probably be sometime in August, sooner rather than later, when you would have to let us know whether or not you were going to opt out or not. And then there'll be windows of when you can opt back into school. I've heard many different districts doing many different things. I've heard people do marking periods. I've heard the first of the month. I've heard October 16th, phase-in days, phase-out days. So we're working on that. We had a good conversation with our reopening committee today, talking about that. So we should have more guidance and forms going out to families within the next week or two on opt-outs and the distance learning plan. The distance learning committees are working diligently. We have an elementary school distance learning committee, a middle school distance learning committee, and a high school distance learning committee. And all three of them are working on what distance learning will look like at home when we roll it out. That'll be our work for the next month or so. We put a framework of the schedule together, which I'm going to speak about in a minute. And then from that framework of the schedule, now we're making tweaks and changes and getting really down into the details of what we need to do. Sorry, Elise just told me she's locked out.
I was trying to connect to audio. I saw it, so we'll see what happens. All right, go ahead, Nick.
Sorry. I just want to let her back in if she comes in here. All right. So with that being said, after last week's presentation to the public, many conversations with parents, a great open dialogue, reopening meeting with our teachers and administrators, a conversation. She's back. Okay. A conversation with our board members and much reflection. We heard your voices. We heard your voices loud and clear. We had a decision that we had to make, and we wanted to make a decision to change our plan, to alter our plan, not significantly. It's still going to be, for the most part, the same plan with one change to it. While I know this may cause some families an inconvenience, we are recommending that moving forward, our new updated plan will include one full distance learning day for all schools on a Wednesday. So every Wednesday will now become a distance learning day. What this does, this will allow us to break the week up for a deep cleaning of all of our schools in the middle of the week, sanitize all of our classrooms and schools. This will not be a flex day like we had in the past. This is not going to be a flex day, but a meaningful distance learning day for all, while putting the health and safety of our students and our staff first. I still believe, in comparison to what other school districts are seeing out there, we are not asking as much. Some schools are having 2 or 3 days off in a row. Some schools are doing every other week. I know this is changing a little bit from what we had recommended, but like I said, after hearing a lot of the concerns, after doing a lot of research, and we really feel that we can do a deep cleaning of our schools over the weekend. We can have our students in on Monday and Tuesday, still have the AB day schedule for 7 through 12, and Wednesday will be off for all of our schools, and then come back in for Thursday and Friday. We want our students and our staff and our families to feel comfortable and know that we're putting their safety first and that we are cleaning our buildings. We are doing a lot in Fair Lawn. I'm getting many calls from other superintendents. How are you managing this? How are you opening up schools full time? This is unbelievable. It's impressive that we're able to do this with our classrooms and our staff. But we also don't want to just say it's impressive we're able to bring everybody back. We want to say it's impressive, but we're also taking care of everybody and we're putting their safety first. And so that's what we're doing. That'll be the change to the plan. I wanted to let you know as soon as possible. This has been our whole day today, conversations about this. And, we wanted to, since we had this meeting tonight, we thought it would be behoove us to inform families tonight, as well as you will be informed through a letter, even though I'm sure it's probably on social media by the time I'm done talking. With that being said, that's all I have on the reopening for tonight, considering that we just did a 3-hour presentation last week. I don't have much more to add to it other than Wednesdays will now be a distance learning day for everyone, a meaningful distance learning day. It will not be a day off for students. It will not be a day off for staff. It will be a meaningful distance learning day for all. With that being said, I wanted to let you know something totally separate from reopening schools and distance learning, which I'm happy to talk about, and give me a break from that for a second, is we were able to reach gold status, all 10 of our schools, for safe routes to school. It was an initiative that we set the bar high for over the last year or two. It was an idea that came to us from one of our board members, Emily Cohen, who is on here tonight, who serves as our Safe Routes to School liaison. And it was something that came out of shared services, working with the community, with the township. And it's to promote a healthier lifestyle, to promote more students riding bikes to school, walking to school. I mean, yes, just yesterday in Fair Lawn, there was a tragedy of a gentleman who passed away who was hit by a car on Fair Lawn Avenue. I mean, we need to continue to educate our children, our students, and our community on how to be safe, but how to have a healthy lifestyle. And, we, as we always do in Fair Lawn, we try not to do for one school that we wouldn't do for all the schools. So we took a pledge and we actually shot for bronze status this year. And we said, you know what, let's try to hit the bronze status mark. And our principals I couldn't be more proud of them, how they really took the ball and ran with it. And before you knew it, we're like, wait, are we going for silver and gold status? And we just kept on going and just having programs and assemblies and walk to school with your principal and ride your bike to school day and who has the coolest helmet, pictures with the mayor and myself. And we did so many things, but what the icing on the cake was when COVID hit, we didn't stop. And that's what they said to us at Safe Routes to School. They couldn't believe it. They want to highlight Fairlawn that we continue to do assemblies online through Zoom. And we continue to educate our students the whole time, even through COVID. So we were just notified last week that all of our schools reached gold status. The high school participated, but the high school is not eligible. It only goes, the program is for elementary and middle schools, but every one of our schools reached gold status, which also allows us to now apply for grant money and apply for grant money with the borough. And we may be highlighted or something. They asked us for some quotes and pictures and things like that that we sent into them. But it's a great initiative, and it was something, like I said, 4 years ago that I probably had no idea about. I learned a lot about Safe Routes to School over the last couple of years. And last year we were shooting for bronze. And for us to hit gold and to work with Councilwoman Gail and Emily and our board and our schools and everyone involved, and Wendy, my secretary, who's just been unbelievable, gathering all the information from all the schools and the pictures. I thank you for that. And it's just something that we're really proud of. It's another thing, another feather to put in our cap here of why this is such a special community. With that being said, those are all my comments for the night, but I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge, and I don't want to steal Emily's thunder. I see her hand up. So you know what, Emily? I'm going to let you speak first, Emily. Go ahead. But are you clapping or are you raising your hand to speak? You're clapping? Okay, then I'm going to say something.
I was clapping for Safe Routes.
Okay, Emily's clapping for Safe Routes, but
Yeah.
on the agenda, you will see Emily's resignation, and I'm not going to steal her thunder. I will let her speak first, but I'm going to give her a heartfelt, thank you for being on the board. And thank you. I think it's fitting that, we end this relationship with gold status for Safe Routes to School. And, I just want to thank you for being an amazing board member and somebody who always pushed us to do better, set the bar higher. And I know you pushed me as a superintendent in a good way. And I appreciate that. And, I wish you well. I wish you well. But I don't want to steal your thunder because I think you want to say something.
Sure. Do I have the mic? Thank you, Nick.
Go.
Yes, on the agenda, there's an item that expresses my formal resignation as of tomorrow. And I just wanted to share a few thoughts and reflection for everyone here on the Zoom call and for the public. So tonight, I publicly announced my departure from the Fairlawn Board of Education. Although my term is set to end in December, this meeting will be my last as a board member in 2020. Our family, as you can see from the moving boxes, is in the process of moving closer to my parents and siblings who do not live in Fairlawn, with my husband and I maintaining 2 careers, raising 3 young children, and being pretty much without any daily source of support during the pandemic. We have decided it best to be physically closer to grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins for the pandemic months to come. While I feel very privileged to have this option for our family, I'm also so sorry to lose my privilege to not only live in Fairlawn for the time being, but also to serve it by being part of this board. Although my involvement with the Fairlawn Board of Education started only 3 years ago, what I have been able to contribute, as well as what I've learned in the process, has yielded meaning for a lifetime. As a former board member once told me, being on the board changes you. This is a statement with which I wholeheartedly agree. To my board colleagues, thanks to each of you for the ways in which you've inspired my own adult development. I'm certain I will look back on this experience and appreciate not only our moments of harmony, but also our moments of conflict. We are all lifelong learners, and I hope that as this board continues to experience both continuity and change in its membership, all members can continue to strive for doing even better as individuals and as a group. I also want to take this opportunity to publicly express my appreciation to our superintendent, Nick Norcia, and the team of professionals whom he manages and leads. I ran for the board in 2017, at which time the major issue of the day was over-enrollment, soft borders, and referendum planning. I understood even then, though, that the most important issue, even with those critical issues right there in front of us, was the selection of a permanent superintendent. Working with Nick over the past years has affirmed this understanding, whether it is how to optimally reconfigure middle schools, responding to concerns about peanut allergies, pursuing statewide recognition programs like Safe Routes Partnership, or developing plans in response to the impossible challenges of a global health pandemic. The board's most important role truly is to recruit, select, guide, oversee, and evaluate the superintendent. Farallon, please know that I believe our community is tremendously fortunate to have Mr. Norcia at the helm of our ship. His ambition, work ethic, commitment to children, fervor for public education, tirelessness, humor, and listening skills are among the many strengths that I've had the honor of observing firsthand. I wish him much success and his team as well, with lots of longevity in our community over decades to come. The final entity that I want to thank is the public, especially members of the public who are tuned in to our Board of Education. Your desire to be heard, to provide insights, to ask questions, to give a thumbs up, a pat on the back, to challenge this board to excel in ways that matter most to you, all of this goes a long way. To parents with children in the district today, this historical moment gives us a unique bond. No matter the grade level of your child, their particular socio-emotional or cognitive needs, your own employment status, parents in Farallon today share in the day-to-day work of doing what we can to promote our children's continued growth and development during this historic public health and economic crisis. Now more than ever, it is important for parents with children in the district to be in the know on the decision points that confront your local Board of Education and to encourage your friends and neighbors to do the same. Please keep attending board meetings, listen for the signals within the noise, engage on social media, provide public comments at public meeting, email questions in private, learn about the candidates who are running for the board each year, support those candidates in any way you can, vote every November, no matter what other races are on the ballot, and influence others in your own private spheres in Farallon to do the same. And yes, please do consider running for the board yourself. If anybody ever would like to speak with me personally about my experience as a board member, how it has changed me for the better, and why I feel so much gratitude for having had the opportunity to serve in this way, please reach out to me through private message on Facebook, or feel free to email me at my private email address at emilygreenfield@yahoo.com. I just want to thank everybody from my heart for hearing my voice, and I wish every child and adult in our community and schools health, wellness, patience, and resilience in this year to come.
So, nice job, Emily. Thank you for the kind words, Emily. Thank you for the kind words. You will be missed. You definitely will be missed.
Emily, I just want to say to you that it's been an honor and a privilege to serve with you on this board the last 3 years. I know you before you ran for the Board of Education, and it was great to watch you grow and learn over the years, and you've been a tremendous asset to this board. And as Nick stated, yeah, sometimes we might have had disagreements, but you always pushed everybody to be better, like we pushed you to be better. So, and that's what it's all about. And at the end of the day, in your heart, the number one priority was the children of Farallon. And I have a lot of admiration, and I wish you and your husband and your family nothing but the best. And hopefully we'll see you back in Farallon again one day. But I really want to thank you on behalf of the board, everything you've done for us and for this community and everything else. And again, it's been a pleasure and honor to serve on the board with you. So thank you. Does anybody else want to say anything to Cindy? Go ahead, unmute yourself.
I just want to say, and I did reach out to Emily by email, but I just wanted to just reiterate what I said to her. There is no question that we got off to shaky starts, and learning about each other. And I think what broke the ice for me was your children. As much as we didn't see eye to eye on things, I respected your opinion. But when I saw those kids look at me and want to be around me, and we got to know each other, and we got to fool around, and I got to know who they were. And I think that's what turned the corner for us. And I think we're leaving in a very nice place. And I wish you and Boaz and your 3 lovely children all the best. And I'm glad that you're going to be around family, because there's nothing like family when you are down and need them. And I just wish you the best of luck. And I hope to see you back.
Thank you, Cindy. Mike? Unmute yourself.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, Emily. Yeah, I also sent you an email as soon as I got your message. And you know what I remember is I think it was the first month you were on the board, you reached out to me to work on a project, and we got to know each other a little bit. We didn't always agree with each other, but at least, you did put out the olive branch, and we've had our disagreements, we've had our agreements, and sometimes we agreed to disagree. But you definitely added something to the board, and I wish you good luck, and certainly, hope everything works out for you.
Thank you, Mike. Anybody else?
Ron?
Gene, I got
Yeah,
you.
Emily, I called Emily the other day when I found out, and we had a very nice conversation. And one thing I will miss is, especially when I was president, we used to have those 20-minute, half-hour conversations, kind of Tuesday night. And I think we both learned a lot. And it really was a pleasure working with you on the board. And we always were able to get along and speak like colleagues and friends to a certain extent. And I'm going to miss that. And I know you'll do real well out there in Illinois, and I hope you're not too long out there and you're back soon. So good luck, and tell Boaz I'll see him around.
Vladimir.
Hi, Emily. Yes, we spoke on the phone, and I'm
got you, welcome.
sorry to see you go. Liz was my mentor, and you are also my very good mentor, and we'll remain friends. Your participation on the board was truly invaluable. You brought energy, you brought vigor, you brought attention to detail. You brought out-of-the-box thinking, which is something I think I lack. And I learned a lot from you. I wish I could vote no on the agenda item. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Vlad. Wilkin.
Dr. Cohen, I want to say that I'm very sorry to see you go. Thank you so much for your service to Fairlawn, to our children, to our entire community, to our taxpayers, to all of our neighbors. You're truly going to be missed. And I remember that day when I met you, a complete stranger, you knock on my door, and when you knock on my door, I ask you for your political views, and you disclose them, and I still voted for you because of the passion that I saw in your eyes. And when you gave me an advice, I took one, and the other one I didn't take, and both of them work out just great. And I'm very sorry if I ever say anything mean to you. I'm very sorry if we didn't see eye to eye on anything. And I'm very sorry also for any moment that you experienced on the Board of Education where anyone was not respectful, gentlemanly, and kind to you. Because we are humans, we all make mistakes. And I am a very genuine person. I make mistakes, but you brought something great to the district, which was your out of the box thinking. You brought accountability to the Board of Education. You brought tough questions, okay? And the Safe Route program that you were instrumental of, every child in Fairlawn will be appreciative, and every parent. So from the bottom of my heart, I really thank you, and I'm gonna miss you and Boaz because you have been through questioning and through intelligent inquiry, you have made Fairlawn better. And let me tell you, those scholarly articles that you have written, I read all of them, okay? I read them. And you are a very accomplished professor, and the state of New Jersey will be very much sorry to see you go because you are an outstanding scholar. So I wish you good luck wherever you go, and I hope to see you soon in the future before I have gray hair and also boys.
Thank you. Anybody? Mark, unmute yourself. Thank you.
Emily, I'm really disappointed that you're leaving. basically because I was going to recommend you as our next vice president. So now I'm going to have to think about who that recommendation can go to. But I really will miss our discussions that we had on the phone prior to our board meetings when we would discuss certain topics. And as everybody else has stated, you did push us a lot further than we normally would go on topics that maybe people didn't want to discuss. You also brought to our attention topics such as goal setting that we may have forgotten about totally, but you always kept us on track and brought us back to where we should be. And I know a lot of times you were on the minority side of the vote, but that never discouraged you from continuing to think, as others said, out of the box and to bring different ideas to the board. I want to wish you and Boaz and your children the best of luck. I hope you come back. You'll probably, if you want to run for the board or just come back to Fairlawn, you're probably going to see the same board members on the board when you come back. So I wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Anybody else? Elise.
So I just want to say that, I sent you an email as well, but I just wanted to say, as far as like the resolution, I think I'll abstain because I really don't want you to go. But I hope you get that in the intent that it's offered. But I just want to say, I remember sitting with you in the diner the first time that we met and discussing how lucky your children were because you were their parent. You are an active and involved parent. You, in my opinion, are a brilliant woman, and I think I've told you that as well as your husband that you're quite accomplished, and I think you're going to continue on a path that will only make all of us who have known you in the past proud.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Well, Emily, you can see you're going to be missed, and you know that. But like I said, wish you best of luck and everything, you and Boaz and everything, and those three little beautiful children that you have. So, and bring a heavy coat. You know what it's like in Chicago in the winter, that's for sure. Okay, at this time, the public comments on the agenda items has been open. Mr. Nocia, have we got any questions yet on the agenda?
We have a few.
Okay, would you go? They're going to stay open for a while, so if anybody wants to make any comments, feel free to
have like
type them in.
public comments on the agenda, but it's also some public comments just in general, but I'm just going to answer all of them. I know we're in kind of uncertain times right now, and I don't want anybody to feel like your question isn't answered or more important. The first one is from Irina. Half year is a long time to commit to. Many uncertainties when it comes to current health crisis. Would it be possible to consider more frequent opportunities to switch between in-school and all remote learning? Monthly or market period, for example. Remote learning, V1, the request shall be submitted to the principal at least X days before start of the semester. Does that include those that may be required to stay home due to sudden required self-isolation? Students transitioning to the in-person ed program may be required to submit an academic assessment prior to being placed in class. What will be expected absence policy be? Will there be provisions to study remotely? So to answer your first part of your question, I don't anticipate us doing a half year. If you ask me right now, I'm thinking more like the first of every month. We were thinking, that would be I think that's a fair time. I don't want to, right now, I'm thinking if I say the first day of every marking period, everybody's family circumstances change. And I don't want to have to say to somebody, oh, sorry, you have to wait till November to come back into school. So we want to try to work with families as best as possible. In addition, our form, what we're thinking is going to include something like, you have to let us know by this day, maybe give us a week's notice that you want to start the following week, or 3 days notice so that we can prepare and get a schedule ready so that it's a smooth transition. If you called me tonight and said, I want to come in tomorrow, it's going to make it a little difficult. So we do want to work with families. There will be a little lead time that we'll need. But I'm thinking more along the lines of maybe on like the first of the month. Along those lines. The absence policy, we're going to be looking at absences.
Nick, one second, Nick. Could everybody mute themselves? I'm hearing a lot of background. And so could everybody make sure they're muted? Thank you. I'm sorry, Nick.
Attendance will be taken. We are waiting for guidance. I'm sure that the DOE is going to be a little lax with absences this school year. I don't think anybody's going to be held back. Maybe contracted COVID or something like that, and they had to stay home. So I foresee a lot of leeway and flexibility. I think this is going to be a year of flexibility. That's going to be one of the key words we're going to keep hearing over and over again. So I wouldn't stress too much on that one. Next question from Emily. What kind of cleaning will be done in excess of the daily cleaning to justify this distance learning day? A very deep cleaning, by all means. I used one example when I spoke with the board member today. Just imagine cleaning your house in an hour compared to cleaning your house in 10 hours, how much more you will get done. We're going to be doing a deep cleaning, sanitizing of all our classrooms everywhere you could possibly think of, as much as we possibly can in that day. We think it's really important. I also had the question, how come you're not picking a Monday or a Friday? That's not written here, but that came up. And the reason why is because we already have the weekend to clean all day. So for us to do it on a Monday or Friday, I do feel personally that it would be somewhat of a wasted day. I think Wednesday, right in the middle of the week, gives us a chance to chunk that week up a little bit and clean it, disinfect, and then have our students come back. Like I said, we really are just taking into consideration our students, our staff, and making sure their safety is the utmost priority of ours right now. Will the distance learning for student enrolled in-person education be the same format as student enrolled full-time distance education? Yes, we want if you're home all day, we want our distance learning curriculum to model and mimic our in-school curriculum or in-school plan. Will all students have daily live instruction regardless of format? Will every student have contact with their teacher every day in a non-social setting and have at least 1 to 2 one-on-one meaningful interactions per subject with each teacher per week? As per the survey results that we had, that there was an overwhelming majority of synchronous and blended that wanted blended rather than asynchronous. I believe it was 7% that wanted asynchronous. So you're going to see a lot of live interaction. It's going to mimic the school day by all means, but you're going to see a blend as well. But I would just ask that if you could just remain patient as our distance learning committee, who's doing an unbelievable job trying to lay out what a school day will look like. And it will be a school day that you will have at home. Just if you could give us a little time as we continue to work on that, we're making a lot of great strides with that, but we will be sharing that information when we are ready. This is from Denise. I am concerned with younger students walking to and from middle school. Can the Fair Lawn Police Department aid crossing guards, making it safer for our students? We can surely speak with them about that, by all means. I would like to thank Olga Ginsburg. I would like to thank Emily for her professionalism and dedication, involvement, and engagement. We've been honored to have you on the board during the last 3 years. We will miss you and good luck with your move. Christine Knudsen, will additional parent surveys be sent out and plans shared with the public prior to August 8th regarding district opt-out and distance learning plans? I don't know if another parent survey will be going out this week. Yes, additional parent surveys will be going out. I anticipate them going out throughout the summer, by all means, especially parents who may be opting out. But yeah, additional parent surveys will be going out. I anticipate the next thing I will communicate for people that aren't watching this board meeting tonight. We will communicate out that moving forward, there is a change. That Wednesday will now be a distance learning day. But probably the next communication you will receive, we are required. The only date we were really ever given by the Department of Education is that we are required to inform parents 4 weeks ahead of school what their child's schedule may look like when they come back in September. So we already have our letters that our principals are working on. The letters will come from the principals. We wanted it to be more personal to your school rather than it come from me as the superintendent. So I ask you to look out next week or the week after. It probably won't be next Friday. It could be the Monday, the 10th or 11th. That really gives us 1 full month or 4 weeks. You will be getting a letter about what your son or daughter's schedule will look like. Can you please provide some information on the 5-6 grade safety protocols? They are sharing the building with the 7-8 grades, moving from class to class and interacting with 5-6 teachers daily. Thank you. This is also from Olga Ginsburg. Yes, we are still working on this. I know there was a lot of talk about this last week. I know there's a lot of parents who reached out to me as well. We will be providing more information on the 5-6. We are thinking that the 5th graders are going to stay more self-contained as we always planned, so that there hopefully won't be as much transition time and them moving around the building as much. So we're going to try to do our best to keep them secluded. But if you could just be a little patient on this one as well, we want to communicate some more information out about that. We're thinking about doing like a frequently asked questions, putting it on the website, and gathering some of these questions and putting it out there. I already started compiling last week's questions. There was like 70 questions. We have all the questions and answers ready. We're just cleaning it up a little bit and rewatching some of the old video to make sure we got it right. But that should be up within the next week or so. Larissa, I just wanted to thank Emily for all of her work on the board. She's an intelligent, thoughtful, introspective individual whose dedication to our children, evidence, and process will be missed. Thank you, Emily. Robin Williams. Thank you, Dr. Cohen, for your hard work, dedication, and advocacy during the past 3 years. Your energy, enthusiasm, and ideas have been invaluable to the board and have benefited children of Fairlawn. We are sorry to see you go. Thank you for your service. You will be missed. Dawn Ebner, page 14. What is happening with appointments for the assistant coaches? Will there be assistant coaches this year? So on this agenda, you will see that I removed the assistant coaches. My plan is to have assistant coaches. However, I'm also very concerned about the future of sports in our world, not just in Fairlawn. I mean, we see Ramapo College, Montclair State, Monmouth University canceling their seasons, Rutgers football team quarantined after being at a house party. So I am concerned. I also I'm listening to everything I possibly can coming out of the NJSIAA, speaking with athletic directors in district, out of district. And, we're not allowed to start until August 10th as it is. So at this point, I'm anticipating us having another board meeting probably the middle of August, because we know there's so much that has to be done. And if we have to have a special action. So for now, I just put the assistant coaches on hold for a couple of weeks and put the head coaches on so that they could start working with students in virtual and program planning and things like that. Because I have to keep my eye on this. I wouldn't be surprised at some point if, sports are not in the future for the school year. So you have to be very realistic to that. For now, there's still a go, but before I go and appoint all these people and coaches, I have to be cautious, and I want to keep the district's best interest in mind while I'm making these tough decisions. So I'm not saying the assistant coaches are not going on by any means. We're very happy with the names that were put up, the candidates that were put up, but I'm just pumping the brakes for like 2 weeks and just putting the head coaches on. And then my plan is to regroup in 2 weeks and hopefully put the assistant coaches on. And I just want to make sure, I think that's it. Let me just go to, I could be wrong. Just bear with me 30 seconds to make sure that no more questions are coming in. Christine Weinstein. Best of luck to Emily and her family. Thank you for all your hard work and dedication to the children and families of Fairlawn. You will be missed. Couple of questions. Will special ed flex students in the middle school have the option to choose the half-day option rather than the full day? And would the middle school be able to offer clubs and after-school activities via Zoom to provide students with more social opportunities with their peers? I don't think there is a half-day option that we're offering right now. There is no half-day. It's still, we're doing, at this point, you know what, Christine? I would ask if you could just reach out to Camille DeFranco or Jonathan Hesney and have that conversation offline. They may be able to answer that because it's more special ed related, if you don't mind. Would the middle school be able to offer clubs and after-school activities via Zoom? Yeah, we are talking about that. We're not, we also pumped the brakes on all the extracurricular club advisors and things of that nature. You know, there's the reality that the governor at any given moment may shut school down for the full year. So before we go and put all our advisors and everybody on, and then there's not even a school year and everything's distance learning, we're just trying to take our time and be very deliberate with our decisions. But if there is a school year, and you know, I'm hoping there is, fingers crossed, we're going to talk about clubs being via Zoom and virtual, and we don't want to chip our students of any of those opportunities by any means. I just want to export this because it's a little weird. Do you have any specific information from Lisa Parente? Further information on how 5th and 6th grade specifically will handle changing classes. I just touched on that. I think 5th grade is probably going to stay more self-contained, and you know, we're still looking at 6th grade, but we'll have further information as soon as possible. Should we submit other times now or wait? I'm not sure what that means. That's from Dawn. Anybody know what that means?
Questions now or later?
I'm sorry, what's that?
I think she means submit questions now or later.
No, if it's an agenda question, she submits it now. If it's a public comment on new business, that's later.
Did we purchase new filters for the air conditioners? At this point, we're still looking into that. Isn't that correct, Brooke?
I'm sorry. We did purchase, of course, the regular air conditioning units. We change the filters all the time. We did upgrade our filters to MERV 11 filters for some of our HVAC units. So we did do some upgrading, and we're still looking into other upgrades to our HVAC system.
Matter of fact, Nick and Brooke, I actually have information that I received today from a company that has some high-end filters that you can use for air exchange. I will send you the information tomorrow.
Sure. Send it over.
And then we can share it with the rest of the board, okay? Because I also want to discuss about conducting air quality tests also. Thank you. Anything else, Nick?
Yep. Any final decision on high school sports from Denise? I just covered that. Our 5th grader is going to stay with the same group of classmates. I just said that we'll probably keep them as self-contained as possible. Thank you. Thank you. Regarding the early college program, will the schedule be 6, 7, 8, 1 rather than 5, 6, 7, 8, so they don't interact both the morning and afternoon students? I would ask if you could just contact Mr. Gorski on that one. I'm sure he would be happy to answer that question. And we are still doing the Bergen Community College early college program. The second cohort of students will be starting this year. Lisa Parente, again, what happens if someone in one of the buildings tests positive or someone's family member does? Has that plan been fleshed out? At this point, we are talking about working closely with the Fair Lawn Health Department, as well as the Bergen County Health Department and our nurses. So if somebody does test positive, we will be speaking with them on a regular basis. We're supposed to be getting a playbook from the Bergen County Health Department as well, but for now, we are being told that we have to work very closely with the health department, which we always do as well. Will classrooms be live streamed for students working remotely? At this moment, we are still working on the distance learning plan. Will students with a 504 plan be getting more live instruction if the parent requests? I vote for all live learning. I would ask that you speak with your guidance counselor, but I don't think the 504 plan is going to mean that you're going to get any more live instruction than anyone else. Just former special ed director and assistant superintendent and case manager here, but I don't think a 504 plan would allow you to get more live instruction over somebody else. I don't know, but I would ask if you do have a specific 504 question to your individual needs for your son or your daughter, I would ask that you speak with your 504 case manager or the building administrator. All right. That's it, 24 questions for now.
All right, if anybody did not get their question in, feel free to bring it up on the new business because we don't want to block anybody out. At this time, I'll ask if any board members have any comments on the agenda, just the agenda.
I'm just going to close it down for a little while, then open it back up again so they don't keep flying through, if you don't
Oh,
mind.
that's fine, Nick. Thank you very much. Anybody have, Vladimir, go ahead.
Okay, good evening again. I have a few comments on a few agenda items. First, item F like Frank, 5C on page 24. This is approving of Benecard as our prescription benefit manager. I will have to abstain on this item as a requirement of my employer. The requirement to abstain on all matters relating to health insurance. Next, I want to thank Nick for putting online to the public the monetary transfers report and the draft policies. Thank you. Thirdly, we're approving chemical hygiene report. There are several typos in the table of content. Some pages are messed up. Please fix it later. We'll still approve it. Just fix it later.
We'll take care of it.
Note of them.
Mhm.
We made note of them.
Okay, thank you. And last but not least, we have 3 policies to approve here. So the third policy, which is number 6173, as it is stated right now, you are only allowed to switch from remote to in-person and from in-person to remote once per semester, which is like September and January. This is not a good situation. This even contradicts what Nick just said. Nevertheless, I think it's okay for the first reading. I would never vote for this on the second reading, but on the first reading, it's okay because this will allow us as a board to discuss and deliberate later during a policy meeting, which we're going to have later. I just want to bring it up that it's not good for second reading.
Yeah, so I just want to touch on the policies, 3 policies on here. Restart and recovery plan, the Federal Family First Act, and a remote learning policy. We're putting these on for a first reading, but we're going to designate a full meeting just for these policies in a few weeks. And then we're going to bring it back to the board again. So this is not the time for us to, it's a very good point. And Vlad, not that I'm a voting member of this board, but I wouldn't vote for that either. These are sample policies. And what happened was they put these policies out in light of everything that's happened with COVID and reopening schools. By law, we have to have 2 readings of each policy before it's official. So, of course, we're up against the gun right now. We're trying to open schools in September, which is 6 weeks away or 5 weeks away, whatever it is at this point. If we waited, didn't have the first reading tonight, and just waited, we would have had to squeeze in one more board meeting as well as another board meeting. So we thought it would be beneficial and hedge our bets a little bit. Put the policies on here for a first reading. Everybody digest what you see on here. We don't have to discuss it tonight. At our policy meeting, come back with all your thoughts and ideas. We could have a conversation there, make any changes we feel fit as a board, and then we could have a second reading at our August meeting and then have the policies implemented. But I just wanted to put them on here because if we didn't put them on here, we wouldn't have had the first reading. So you have a chance to sample policies. I put them out there for the public to see. They're out there, and then we could have a very healthy conversation in a few weeks about these policies. But I agree with you, Vlad. I wouldn't want that on there either.
Thank you. So just a couple of quick comments on the other 2 policies. 1649, Federal Family First Act, same thing. There are many things we should fix there, but we can deliberate on this during the policy meeting. 1648, the Restart and Recovery Plan. I think this is a more interesting situation because there is a policy and there are a bunch of appendices which are very, very important. They are integral part of this policy. They can kind of have to have the meat. Those appendices currently don't exist. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think they just don't exist right now. So first I have a question to Paul Green, to our attorney. Is it possible, do we have the right to separate the policy from its appendices? Maybe we can have the first reading on the policy itself and first reading on the appendices later, so that even later we can have the second reading on the whole thing altogether. Is this a possibility?
Well, yes, I guess the question I would have is, are the appendices in the nature of a regulation, in which case we adopt the policy, and then the meat of it, if you will, is the regulation. So we could structure it that way. And so, yes, we could separate it out that way.
If this is the case, then I have the motion to do exactly that, to change the agenda and vote only on the policies, with the understanding that the appendices will get their own first reading later.
Well, I think you could, but I think you could just approve it on a first reading tonight and on the understanding that that will be corrected. So that by the time it comes back for second reading, the appendices will be separate.
So, because I want to make sure we have the two reading on the appendices only. The appendices will get their own first. And
Well, the interesting part is with the regulation, you only need one reading. So if you put those into the regulation, which is the appropriate thing to do, a policy is supposed to be a broad guideline. If you have detailed provisions, that really should go into a reg, and that you can do on one reading. So you can accomplish your goal by doing it that way.
So Paul, we can vote on this and then,
Yes.
because the appendices also, as far as I'm understood, this is also a rough draft from the state, because these policies, even when we adopt them, once this all goes over, they're gonna come back and tell us they gotta be all removed because they're
Yeah.
here for the pandemic. That's what they're here for. So, okay, so
Right.
if he wants to make a motion, I guess he's allowed to make a motion.
Right.
Need a second on it, and then we vote on it. So do you want to make a motion, Vlad?
yes, make a motion to separate the appendices from the policy and vote only on the policy itself. And the appendices will get their own first reading later.
Okay, a second.
Don't we vote on, Mr. Barbarulo, don't we vote when we get to that agenda item?
What do you mean, do we vote? Yeah, we're
Isn't
gonna
the
vote.
Isn't the motion supposed to be made when we,
Now you can make the motion now to just change it before we get to that vote.
okay,
So I need a second though. I need a second.
second, I second it.
Okay, so we have a second on that, okay. So, any other comments on it? Okay, can I have roll call, Brooke, please? On the motion, this is the motion by Vladimir to take the appendices out of it and just vote on the policy. Am I correct, Vladimir?
Yes,
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion by Vlad, we have a second by Wilkin. So now we just need roll call, go ahead.
Mr. Banta,
Yes.
Dr. Cohen,
Abstain.
Mrs. Franco,
No,
Mr. Itchen,
yes,
Ms. Quackenbush,
You're muted, Cindy.
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
No.
Mr. Santana,
Yes,
Mr. Spindell,
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo.
Yes. All right, so we're just gonna vote on the policy and not the appendices. Okay, everybody has that corrected? Do we have that all corrected? Okay. Vladimir, do you have any other comments?
I'm done, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else with any comments on the agenda? Wilkin?
thank you, Mr. Barbarulo. On G1, page 3, Mr. Norcia, the comments that I emailed on some inaccuracies on the minutes, were those duly noted?
I did not get a chance to get to them yet.
Okay, so I will be voting no on G1. On G2, page 3, we just discussed that. E1, page 7. Mr. Norcia, can you, I know you informed me you follow up on this.
It is AP.
It is an AP Chinese Language Summer Institute training via virtual.
Yeah, here's the title. I don't know if you can see it. It is just, it doesn't say AP in the title, but it's AP in the description.
Got it. Thank you. P5F, page 11. Why do we have, no, you were gonna follow up on this. Why do we have a nurse aide and not a regular nurse?
Because she is, she actually, that's just her title, what she has, but she did finish her bachelor's in nursing.
So there's,
She is a nurse.
We have nurse aides and nurses on staff.
She's a registered nurse. She's not a certified school nurse.
okay, duly noted.
Thank you, Lisa. And hi, Ben.
No further comments. Thank you, Mr. Barbarulo.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Okay, seeing that we don't have any more comments on, we're gonna go into the agenda. Give me a second, please. Okay. Can I have a motion for G1 and 2? Remember on G2, we're only voting on the policies, not the appendices. Can I have a motion? A second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
I just want to make a comment that Wilkin, you have to abstain on the July 21st executive closed section and the July 21st special action meeting. Mr. Banta,
Yes.
Dr. Cohen,
Yes on G1, abstain on G2.
Mrs. Frankel,
Am I muted?
Yeah, no, you're unmuted. You're
I hear
fine.
you.
Okay, I'm on my phone. It's weird. Yes on,
G1.
well, but I also have to abstain because I wasn't at the special action meeting.
Okay,
So the 21st meeting, I'm abstaining on.
okay.
And then on the G2, I don't know if you can separate them. I'm just going to vote abstain on that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Itkin,
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Santana,
Abstain on the meetings on the July 21st, as noted by the board secretary, and no on the rest.
No on,
Mr.
No on the rest of the minutes, and yes on G2.
okay, go ahead.
Mr. Spindell,
Yes.
and Mr. Barbarulo.
Yes. Can I have a motion for S1 to 3, please?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Banta,
Yes.
Dr. Cohen,
Yes.
Mrs. Frankel,
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Itkin,
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Santana,
Yes.
Mr. Spindell,
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo.
Yes. Can I have a motion for E1 to 3?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Banta,
Yes.
Dr. Cohen,
Yes.
Mrs. Frankel,
Yes.
Mr. Itkin,
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Santana,
Yes.
Mr. Spindell,
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo.
Yes. Can I have a motion? Getting there. There's a lot here. P1 to 6.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Banta,
Yes.
Dr. Cohen,
Yes.
Mrs. Frankel,
Yes.
Mr. Itkin,
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Santana,
Yes.
Mr. Spindell,
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo.
Yes. Can I have a motion for SE 1 to 3?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Banta,
Yes.
Dr. Cohen,
Yes.
Mrs. Frankel,
Yes.
Mr. Itkin,
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Santana,
Yes.
Mr. Spindell,
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo.
Yes. Can I have a motion for F1 to 6?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Banta,
Yes.
Dr. Cohen,
Yes.
Mrs. Frankel,
Yes.
Mr. Idkin,
I abstain on item F5C, the Benny card, yes on everything else.
Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Santana,
Yes.
Mr. Spindell,
Yes.
and Mr. Barbarulo.
Yes. Okay, at this time, we're gonna open up the meeting to the public comments on new business. Nick, has anybody called in yet? Or
I had opened it up before.
I know you opened it up before. I'm just saying, has anybody called in yet on new
One
business?
person so far.
Okay,
Comment. It says, a lot of parents, myself included, are concerned with their children wearing masks in school all day. Are you considering outdoor activities, outdoor recess, frequent mask breaks, anything else to provide an opportunity for children to take their masks off while keeping social distance indoors or outdoors? Yes, absolutely. We are constantly having this conversation. Although all masks are mandatory right now, we did discuss last week in kindergarten, desk shields. We are looking at them potentially for some additional grades. We do realize that it's a long period of time, so there could be mask breaks potentially. We are encouraging as much as we could get outside, socially distance, and give them mask breaks. Yeah, it is a conversation we are definitely having. This is, hi, good evening. Why will there only be partitions in the kindergarten and not for all grades? I want to keep saying, it's not just kindergarten. Actually, we're talking obviously our pre-K program as well, but we are having discussions about other grades as well. So if you went to room 19 right now, or where we normally have our board conference room, we have all different types of partitions up right now that we are looking at. So we are making decisions on those on PP in the near future. When will the incoming ninth graders be given Chromebooks? Will it be prior to the start of the school? We signed all the papers and paid fees when kids were in 8th grade. My question, when will they be given the Chromebooks? They will not be given Chromebooks. They will be given Dell 3190s as part of our District 1-to-1 initiative. And we will get that information out to you soon. I realize we did order them for the students. They are getting them, but it's just a matter of the distribution of those devices, getting them set up. So I would assume sometime either at the start of the school year, before the school year, but we'll have that information as we get into August for you. Question here. Can you give us a percentage of teachers who will be taking leave during the pandemic? I'm wondering if classes will end up with substitutes, which is not ideal. It says, can you give us a percentage of the teachers who will be taking leave during the pandemic? I'm wondering if classes will end up with substitutes, which is not ideal. I do not know at this time. We had surveyed our staff last Friday. The survey is due tomorrow. I'm hoping for a positive, I'm hoping that our results of our survey increase. Right now, we do not have all those survey results in. So, we're trying to work with the association for those teachers to fill out that survey. But for now, we're trying to get that information out as best as possible too. Without having those results, it's difficult to plan. So that's very important to us. It's a fluid document. And as I said today, these decisions in our life are very fluid. We don't know what tomorrow brings. So we know that whether somebody's coming back to work, yes, I could come back to work. It could very well change tomorrow. And that's why it's important to have that dialogue, to reach out to myself or Lisa as the director of HR, let us know. But those survey results are really important to us. And without having those, it makes it very difficult in our planning stages. Okay, just trying to get back into it. It's a long one. Hold on, I'm going to export it. It's really hard to read it, but it's really long. All right, there you go. This is from Dawn Ebner. Good evening, Board of Ed parents and my fellow members. On July 23rd, Mr. Nurcia presented to the Ed Committee at the Fairland Board of Ed the reopening plan. At that meeting, I indicated that the involvement of teachers in Fairlawn had been limited regarding the development of those plans. I also stated that the plan, as we understood it, was not one that we could support due to the continuing concerns regarding the safety of the students, the staff, and their families. I clearly understand that the district has done its due diligence in meeting the anticipated minimum standards set forth by the DOE roadback guidelines. But I have continued to beat the drum with administration and anyone else I have spoken with. The safety must be first and foremost. Please understand, I am not suggesting that health and safety is not a high priority of the district, but if we as a district always strive to keep the bar high for our students, I ask why are we not going above and beyond the minimum standards set for reopening? When doing so, can more positively impact the health, safety, and possibly the lives of our students, staff, and their families. I do not think we as educators would accept the minimum in regard to any other aspect of our schools. So why are we doing it here? I know that my time is limited, so I'll try to be brief with an update from our perspective. Hold on, take a swig here. The Fairlawn Ed Association met with Mr. Garcia, Dr. Latina, and Mr. Franco yesterday to again express our concerns. At this meeting, we noted that nearly 100% of our members had recently completed a survey, the results of which revealed that 91% of staff were concerned with the current plans. 4 key areas of concerns were also addressed in the survey. Almost 83% of respondents were concerned that the time allotted to adequately clean and sanitize the school was not sufficient. Over 84% were worried about the potentially dangerous number of interactions throughout the day. 80% wanted clear protocols for the nurse and staff regarding the handling of symptomatic students, staff, and/or positive COVID test results in their building. Finally, almost 92% of respondents felt that the ability of students and staff to physically distance within the school buildings could not be done effectively. Based on these 4 essential areas, I'm again beating the drum of safety. While again, I understand that this is the initial proposal and the details can be added and or changed, we feel that in order to meaningfully address each of these areas, the overall district plan must continue to evolve and change. In New Jersey, we are not permitted to eat at a restaurant indoors. We have phase-in plans for everything in the state, and yet here we are planning to welcome up to 100% of students and staff into our schools every day for several hours. I have heard it said by our administration that the devil is in the details, that we will work together to figure it out, and that we might be able to make this work better depending on the number of individuals who opt for distance learning. I strongly believe this is not enough. The plans as a whole has to work for all of our students, and again, I say that safety, real safety, that goes above the minimum standards, should be our #1 priority. We have heard the announcement that Wednesdays will now be dictated to deep cleaning while education continues remotely. While this does not address all of the concerns of the staff regarding cleaning and disinfectant protocols provided by the plan, we see this as a step in the right direction. I know that there are members of both the board and the community that have heard presentations from administration, and some of you had regular communication regarding what they have shared. You have heard their narrative and will likely hear a response to this statement. I implore you, if there's anyone who would like to meet with us, we would be willing to meet with you to present our concerns in more detail. To that end, I have requested that Mr. Norcia speak to the Fairlawn Board of Ed regarding the Fairlawn Ed Association Executive Board's wish to schedule a liaison meeting with them. As I have not received a response to that request, I am also taking this opportunity to make a formal request to the Board of Ed to schedule a liaison meeting with us. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Norcia, I have a question for Ms. Ebner.
Yeah.
The survey that she's talking that was reported back 94%. Is that the survey that they did for themselves or the survey that our district has sent out?
No, that's a survey that they did internally.
Because they have not sent the survey back that we sent out that we're required to know what's going on. Is that correct?
On July 13th, I sent a survey to the association. I did not receive the survey back to say this is a survey we're thinking about sending out to the staff. What are your thoughts on this? I didn't receive it back till July 23rd with pretty much the same questions. We sent that survey out to the staff last Friday. And at that point, you know, we probably have a 20% response rate. So, I mean,
So we need to get that survey back.
internal survey results, that's really helpful for the association, I guess, but it's really putting us in a bind as a district as we're trying to plan. We've done everything we could to try to work together, including a meeting with 45 people today that included so many teachers on it. And we came up with the decision that today on Wednesdays, you know, that would be a distance learning day.
It came from their teachers.
Yeah.
Okay, and also the last question I have for them or her or them is we are following the guidelines of the CDC, of the governor, and the Board of Health. We're following the guidelines that the district is working their plan on that. So the safety and health of our staff and our students is the #1 priority for this district and this board. So I just want to make that clarified publicly, that we're not taking that not into consideration, just like I know they're taking into parents' situations and watching children and everything else, but educating the children and also the welfare of the children mentally. So let's just make sure that we have that all clear. But thank you for answering my question.
No, and you know, since we're going to talk about this, I mean, it's important to point out that yes, Camille and Natalie met with the association executive board yesterday, and it was, you know, we had a conversation about how important it is to work together. And, you know, we continue. And I said, my door will always be open to the teachers. I am a teacher at heart. It'll always be open to work together with them. But, you know, there's give and take, and we need to work together. And, you know, you could spin whatever narrative you want on this. That's fine. I know what I'm doing in my heart, and that's doing the right thing by the Fair Lawn community and putting the health and safety as our #1 priority. You know, I don't understand how hard it is to fill out a survey that says, yes, I'm coming back, no, I'm not, or my circumstances have changed. But, you know, without doing that, I just feel like we're being stonewalled at this point. And that's my perspective. Moving on. And I'll leave that up to the board if you want to meet with Flea, executive board, but that's not my decision.
Mr. Barbarulo, is that something we will disclose? We will discuss in closed session?
Yes, we'll discuss it in closed session.
Okay.
Sorry for the late question. Will schools provide masks for students? Yes, we purchased enough masks for every single student in district. So if a child forgets their mask at home, don't worry, we have enough. Everywhere you turn, we're going to have masks for them. We know that people feel comfortable with their own mask, and we understand that, but if they choose to, we did purchase enough masks for everybody. And that's all I see right now. Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. All right, this time I'm going to open up to board comments on new business. Anybody have board comment on new business? Wilkin?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I would like to, I have an idea. There's a lot of people in town that don't know that they could do business with the school district, okay, when there's an opportunity to do business with the school district. And I was wondering if the finance committee could entertain the idea of having a workshop in Fairlawn, how to do business with Fairlawn Public Schools. You know, I know people who are not familiar with purchasing, the purchasing process. They're totally foreign to the idea of doing business with the government, with the public school system. And in light of so many businesses struggling out there, perhaps there could be a way to, you know, make sure we get as many people, as many business informed about how to do business with us in town. So I think that would be something very useful in this time and productive if our small business community in Fairlawn was reached out by the district or by a business office, and so they can be explained how to do business, how to you know, what it takes, the registration, you know, a quick info on the bidding process and whatnot. But I just would like the finance committee to discuss it.
I will take it into consideration, absolutely.
But also, the purchase manual is actually online. It explains the whole entire process for anybody to look at. So any businesses, they could go online and look at it, and it explains everything. It's very detailed and very easy to read. So, Mr. Santana, if you want to share that with any businesses, please feel free to.
Okay, but that's very useful. But I think the district to have a program for aim at the community to inform them how to do business with the district, I think that serves a very big purpose. So yes, what you just stated, Mr. Norcia, is a great idea, and the district should disseminate it. I don't think a single board member should do it. I think the district should do it. But
Well, no,
I think,
what he stated, not to interrupt, what he stated, it's on the website. They can read it. But I will take it into consideration. I'll talk to the committee about possibly doing something, but it's on the website.
we have many people that don't know how the government operates, and whenever they hear, there's a bidding or there's a contract opportunity or whatever, they say, oh, it's very difficult to get this because the government does things very differently. But it's probably because they don't know how the government operates, especially if they're not familiar with the process.
No problem. We'll take care of it.
How is the small business idea I came up last time with for the finance committee, Mr. Barbarulo? You said you were going to add that on the agenda for the next finance committee for the small business program.
Yeah, this is the one you're talking about right now, correct?
No. That's what I just stated, is to do a information session, how to do business. But at the last public meeting, I suggested during new business that the finance committee look into a program to set aside program for small business owners in Fairlawn. And you stated that the committee will add it to the agenda.
Yeah, I will next meeting. Like I said to you, the last couple of finance meetings, if you noticed through my minutes, they've been extremely busy with a lot of things with the schools reopening and a lot of things. So right now, that's on number one concern. So the next time we have a finance meeting, I'll look to put it on the agenda.
If I'm allowed to make this comment, as a community, we are very proud of our teachers. We are very proud of our teachers, especially those entering the profession. Please know that this is a very difficult time for everyone. And please know that as far as I'm concerned as a board member, you ought to be praised, you ought to be supported, not criticized. And the community needs, yes, this is a very challenging time, but put yourself in the shoes of a new teacher, or put yourself in the shoes of a teacher who's near retirement. Just because we can criticize, that doesn't mean we should always criticize. Just because we can ask many questions, that doesn't mean we should at all times. We have to make sure that we send a strong message to our teachers that they are the teachers
Got
and the
1 minute
students
left.
are number one priority.
I got the 5 minutes.
And during these very difficult times, please know that you have our full support. And I'm going to ask the community to make sure
Mr.
that
Santana, your time is up, Mr. Santana. Your time is up.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Barbarulo.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anybody else?
I got a question.
Go ahead, Nick. Gene, sorry.
It's a question for Paul. In regard to, well, first of all, we know there's bidding rules about, doing business with the district. But I heard the word set aside for Fairlawn businesses. I don't think that's legal, is it?
Yeah, we would not be able to do a set aside for that. There are minority and women business set aside.
That's what I meant. Small business.
But you can, but you have to open that up to all businesses that qualify for that. You can't just restrict it to Fairlawn.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, but the committee was going to look into it. So, right?
I just asked Paul. I just asked the attorney for a legal opinion on set-asides for citizens of Fairlawn. He just said it was illegal. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying we shouldn't look into helping out our fellow citizens of Fairlawn. I'm saying we can't set aside specific business for people in Fairlawn. It's not legal. And Mr. Green agreed with me. That's all I'm saying. I'm done.
Thank you. Anybody else? Vladimir.
Very short. I just want to give a shout out and a big thank you to teacher principal Mike Weaver for great communications and his emails. He kept his parents abreast of the information over the past months. Thank you. I don't know it, but I hope other principals did something similar as well. And if they didn't, maybe they should consider it. Thank you.
Cindy, I got you, Elise. Cindy.
I was just wondering if you could give any, I've had several parents ask when the next parent committee was going to meet regarding the, like a listening or, like the meetings that you have run in the past. And I was wondering if you had set one aside or if they're in the works.
We talked about doing one just designated just to special education for special education parents mid-August, having Camille, Dr. Jonathan Esney, and Pete Petrelli doing that. We've been working closely with Flace on that. And then I would assume there'll probably be a couple more, maybe in the latter part of August.
Thank you, Nick.
Elise.
So I'm wondering if the board would like to make a resolution. I don't know how board members feel about the students going back to school and the teachers going back to school. I'm kind of disconcerted that they didn't answer the survey in a timely fashion so that we would have more information about that. But based on what Nick said, 20% to me is not enough to base how many people are coming back and things like that. But I'm wondering, I don't know how other board members feel about schools reopening, if they feel that schools should reopen before restaurants reopen. I sent the governor an email based on the fact that I thought that every school district in New Jersey making a plan to reopen school was ridiculous. It's kind of like the federal government's not giving us any direction. And New Jersey was so good at giving us direction for so long. And now they sort of just threw the ball in 700 courts. And I thought that was a big waste of time, a waste of resources. If the state would have made a committee of superintendents and teachers to figure out what would be the best way to attack this and came up with even 4 or 5 plans that every district could pick one, there would be some uniformness amongst the state. For one district to be doing Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday, and another district doing Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, like it just seems ridiculous to me. Half days, full days, Wednesdays off, Fridays off, parents want Mondays off. I mean, I just think that it might behoove us to maybe make a resolution. I know you're leaving, Emily, but when I was thinking about this, I was actually thinking of you to maybe make a resolution to send around that tells the government, even if they started, like I know in Delaware and Virginia, they're not going to start until the second quarter starts. That's when they're going to make a determination sometime before the second quarter starts as to whether or not they're going to send people back. We can't go to the movies, but they want our students maybe to sit in the auditorium. Like there's a big sort of in my head, like a problem with that. So I don't know if anybody, would be willing to work on something like that. I know Jean's really good at it as well. I thought maybe if we started the ball rolling about, it's kind of, all the students in New Jersey technically are our students. They should be treated as the students of all the school boards and all the school districts and not individual school districts making, again, to me, it just seems like a big waste of resources and time and energy. And and they didn't give us enough time to even complete a plan, never mind, create a great plan, which, I'm sure we're going to end up with, but it just seems like something that I would like us to do. Any thoughts?
Anybody got any thoughts? I guess we could discuss it further, Elise.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? Wilkin.
I know I spoke about this at the last meeting, and I think the superintendent said it will be look upon. I am asking for either the finance committee to have a special meeting or special emergency meeting. I think we need we need to prioritize this busing situation. I spoke about it last time. I would like the finance committee to meet as soon as possible and discuss if there is a possibility that we can, financially speaking, that we can provide the busing to the kids that were provided the busing last year with a condition that it will be for this year, because we can't just pull the plug on the parents in the last minute. I understand the software was changed, and I understand that, you know, that we're trying to accommodate the space for special needs kids, but I am not comfortable as a board member taking away this busing during this pandemic. And I would like the board via the finance committee to present a plan to the board to tell us what are the difficult decisions that we need to make sure that those parents who are willing and able to pay for the busing, that they are provided the busing, because taking that away from them now, it's a very tough predicament they're being put into. And I'm not saying
I
that
got
this,
you, Mike.
I'm not saying the district is doing this with bad intentions. I am not saying that, but we need to make tough decisions. And I don't want to inconvenience the parents during this pandemic this year. If the decision have to be made in a permanent basis for next year, so be it. But for this year, for this year, I do not want any parent being inconvenient because the busing is gonna stop. And let's make the tough decisions that need to be made after the finance committee looks at and makes a recommendation about whatever we need to do, tough decision to find the money where we need to find the money. But taking the busing away this year during this pandemic, it's something that this board should not stand with. Not this year. The people already have enough on their plate. You know, let's make life easier for them.
You done?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mike, I got you. Give me 1 second. Just to respond to you, we did come back with a suggestion from the finance committee, because as it was stated, number one, we don't have enough buses if we're going to do the social distancing. Number two, we don't know if we have enough bus drivers, and you can't even find bus drivers in the independent contracts. So this is not done intentionally. This is not done to hurt anybody. We're in a situation of a pandemic right now that it's impossible to provide all of this to get the special ed children to where they have to go, which they are the number one priority because it's part of their IEP. So I will talk to the business administrator as chairman of the Finance Buildings Ground Committee and the superintendent and the transportation director. And if there's something that can be changed, I will bring it back to the board. But I don't need to have an emergency meeting, because we did have a meeting and discussed this last month. It was in the minutes I sent to the entire board, and it was also discussed at last month's meeting. So, but I will look into it, but I'm telling you, the reason it's not done. Nobody on this board wants to do this, but you cannot do something that you don't have. If you don't have enough buses for social distancing and enough drivers, and even somebody brought up a suggestion of staggering times, you can't do that. Okay. And they looked into it. Our transportation director is excellent. Then that's the situation. A matter of fact, I just got an email about it in the middle of the meeting that I responded, but I will discuss it with the proper authorities, and then I'll report back to the board in the next week or two through email. Mike, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Ron, I was going to say a lot of the things that you said, just from my knowledge. Last year, school districts were having problems getting, never mind their own buses, getting private bus companies to be able to run some routes that needed to be run. So I think the fact that it's a pandemic, but what makes it even more of a challenge. The other thing I want to say is that I think for the time being, until we get this distance learning plan in place, until we get the in-person learning plan in place, until we get everything in place, that our focus needs to be on these issues and not issues that go beyond the scope of these issues. This is uncharted waters for everybody. I definitely agree with Elise on her that there should be a resolution that we send to the governor that says, you know, what are you doing and how can you help us? You know, the worst words, the worst words to hear is always, you know, we're here from the government and we're here to help you. that usually doesn't pan out that much. I feel that we're doing a really great job getting these plans together, and we need to work together with all the stakeholders, and the teachers need to work with the teachers unions need to work with us. We need to work with them. We need to work with the parents, and the parents need to work with us, because this is uncharted waters, and it is. I'll end by just saying what I keep saying. No one is going to like the plan, because just having to do the plan stinks, because no one is going to like everything in the plan. It's not going to satisfy everybody, because it might not satisfy anybody, because we all have needs. We all have needs, and we all, the school district, I don't know when it happened, but the school district has been called upon to be the answer to everything in society now. And I don't get it. So, but thank you for the time, Mr. Barbarulo.
Welcome, Mike. Thank you. Vladimir, you had your hand up? Where are you? There you are. You had your hand up.
You already answered my question, was staggering. Never mind.
You're welcome. No problem. Anybody else on comments on new business?
I just, I got an email from David Schreiner. He couldn't get the question in, and he wanted to just acknowledge Emily publicly and thank you for all you've done for Fairlawn schools during this difficult time. So thank you, Emily, from David Schreiner.
Okay.
Sorry to be missed, he said. And he also wanted to know about hearing about the plans for virtual or in-person orientation for Memorial. Yes, when we have further information on that, we will let you know. We're still planning that.
Okay. All right. Just one last thing I want to say is that every couple weeks, the school boards, county school boards, they all get together for a CAL meeting. It's just to go over everything that's going on. And I, as the president, am on that email chain, and I do send it to our entire board and our superintendent, because I only get it. And this, just so everybody knows publicly, this is going on all throughout the state of New Jersey. We are not getting the proper guidance from the Department of Education, the governor's office, and so forth. And, as Lee said, everybody make their own plan. Who's envious of this plan? Who thinks that plan's better? That plan stinks. This plan's better. And in every one of them, they send us the emails, and I've sent it to the board. They say, you're going to have a third that likes it, a third that don't like it, and a third that's not sure. So this is just a strange, strange time. And, I just want to commend our administration and our teachers that have come to the meetings for working hard on trying to do the best we can, taking everybody into consideration, all the things, objects of, childcare, the education, the mental welfare of the child, and everything else. So, again, all your questions and comments are very good. I've read some of them on Facebook. Everybody's concerned about their own children, and that's rightfully so. We are all concerned about your children, their health and welfare, and their mental welfare. But we're all in this together, as they constantly saying, we're going to get through this together. So hopefully everybody, as a community, as a district, as a board, as an administration, at the end of the day, we'll get through this, and hopefully we can be back to normal times as sooner than later. So I just wanted to say that. Being that there is nothing else, the only meeting that is scheduled right now is the monthly meeting for August 27th at 7:30 p.m. We will be having a policy meeting, and we will announce it. I'm waiting for some board members to confirm with me. I sent a date out today. I don't want to state the date. And I haven't got a response back from all the board members to make sure it's okay. So as soon as I get that, then we'll get it out to the public, and then you can come. We will be discussing these policies that we read off tonight for the first reading. Other than that, I don't see any other meetings unless we need to schedule a finance meeting or something regarding the reopening of schools. Okay? So, yes, Vladimir.
I will be away last week of August, so maybe we can arrange with me calling in or Zoom or some remote.
Absolutely. You can Zoom in or you can call in or something, which also, by the way, we are going to discuss about going back to live meetings, possibly without just the public still calling in. I know a few people don't feel comfortable, but we might, if we have a majority, we might go back to live meetings with our social distancing in Edison. If we can't do it in the room 19, we would do it in the gymnasium. Cindy, you have your hand up, or are you waving goodbye to me?
Well, I wasn't waving goodbye to you. I had my hand up. I was just wondering if we were discussing the seat of Emily's.
We will talk about that.
Or is it going to be at another time?
No, we're going to discuss it in closed session.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Yes, welcome.
Mr. Banta, we having a personnel meeting before September?
I don't have any plan right now. I'll talk to Ms. Panagia. We
I
might
have
have.
some topics, but I will not say them.
Email
public.
them to me?
Yeah. I
Email
will
to-
Email them
yeah,
to you.
Email to me and I'll talk to Ron, Lisa, and Nick.
Okay, I need a motion. We're going to go into closed session. I need a motion to go into closed session.
Motion
So moved.
to close session.
We have a 5-minute recess.
Yes, we are going to take a 5-minute recess so everybody can take care of things. And to the public, everybody stay safe and healthy, to all your families, and try to enjoy the rest of your summer.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you, Emily.
We love
Emily,
you.
Much, everybody.
Emily, where'd your
Bye,
son
Emily.
Thank you,
go?
Emily.
To bed.
Emily.
Thank you.
Thank you from my heart. Thank you.